Good
Morning, guys.
morning.
Morning.
It is Thursday night for us, Friday morning for you guys. It's been your birthday this whole day.
Oh, yes, it has. One whole year older.
Yeah.
Bittersweet moment.
Remember, we don't have lapels, so.
You know what? Thank you to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. I appreciate you all. Right now is a wonderful time for me to just say thank you to everybody all at once. So thank you. If I did not get a chance to thank you personally, I'm thanking you right now. So thank you so much. I do appreciate all the birthday wishes, the messages, the texts, the phone calls, the videos, the phone calls with the singing, everything. It has been a blessing. Today was just a really quiet day. I got to sleep in, and you took me to get my nails done, and my pedicure, and then we had some quiet time here at home, and then we went to have dinner with just the boys.
Yeah.
You know, because my daughter sent something over, and she says, "Mom, go have dinner with you guys and the boys," and then we all decided to just go have dinner together.
Yeah.
Just a quiet dinner. And then we just got home not too long ago, guys, and it was just a peaceful day, guys, you know. And I realize that as we get older, I think for us, just a good birthday for us is just being able to just be home and be, get some rest and just, get rest and just be at ease at home. And that's like a blessing and a gift in itself, to be able to just do nothing and just spend it with the people we love, Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And yesterday I got a chance to be with our church family, and everybody did a beautiful little cake. They sang happy birthday to me. And
After the Bible study.
And after the Bible study, we went to Denny's.
No, after the Bible studies when the cake.
When they did the cake, yeah. And then after we went to Denny's for some fellowship. And it was just beautiful. We just had a lot of joy and laughter, and we got in a little bit late. But I'm just so grateful because I've just been spending it with the people that I love. And I love it. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate all of you, every single one of you.
Yeah, so we're full from dinner.
Yeah, we had a lot of time for me and you just to sit down. We've been talking all day. Just a lot of conversation. Yeah, a lot of beautiful conversation, things that the Lord has been doing in our lives. And
yeah, just kind of, just kind of recapping on a lot of stuff, which is kind of the subject of today.
Yeah.
But just recap and just talking about things and situations and future endeavors and future laying foundation for the future of ministry and things like that. And I'm working all day pretty much. Well, when I had a chance, I was working on the introduction class that we're going to have every single Sunday at House of Rest, and it made sense. I had a few people approach me and say, "Man, that's a good idea," because like, for instance, he didn't bring this up, but it made me think of Joseph. Remember when he first came? He would show up to the Bible studies, not talk to a single person, and then immediately make a beeline and leave after. Yeah. And it probably took him months to figure out what we were about.
Yeah.
And now, let's say he wasn't a patient person and would have came once, twice, and then just kept it moving. That's why I think it's so key and important to offer a House of Rest introduction class right after service, to say, hey, guys, if you came, this is your first time, and you want to learn more about what we're about, we have a 30-minute class. All you got to do is go in that classroom. We got some coffee in there or whatever, and, so you saw me putting it together. It's pretty good so far. Huh?
It's really, really nice. And, I think now is a good time, because every single week we have so many new people, new families that are coming through. And, because there's so many new people within the community, just people that have been passing by and seeing that we're there, that we're new location. and that were estimated for so many years. And they're like, oh, well, who are these people? And they're saying, we just drove by. We're seeing that you're a new location that you just opened up. And they're stopping in because, oh, we heard the music, or, you know, somebody told us about you guys. And, you know, people, because they don't know what we're about, it's a great opportunity for us to just really let them know what we're about, because they don't know the culture yet. They don't fully know anything. And this is a great opportunity for those people.
Yeah, so it's really fun. The reason, what I mean by putting it together is it's a PowerPoint. And that way it helps, as whether it's me or you teaching that 30-minute class, or somebody else in the church. Yeah. You know, many people are visual. I'm visual. Like, and to have a PowerPoint that goes along when we're talking about the history of House of Rest, or when it started, or Grace International, or whatever it is, to be visual and see it, I think is important and key. And but anyways, I want to talk about the time. I didn't know you yet, but the time I almost gave up. Not my walk in Christ. The time I almost gave up on Grace International. Because I always speak so highly of them, and I think that to be transparent and truthful, I got to talk about the good and the bad too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it leads me to there's a point to it, not just telling a story. But basically what happened was, in the very beginning of Grace International, I wasn't really feeling it. I didn't know anybody. I would go to the meetings faithfully. I've always gone to the quarterlies, you know, I mean, because when we met, I was already in Grace International. Yeah. But I used to, you know, the way we always go to the quarterlies now, I never missed quarterlies, guys. And I always went, and I would see all these pastors, and they'd give each other hugs and handshakes, and they'd start talking about their kids and their wives, and I'm like, I don't fit in here. Yeah. You know, I didn't fit in, and I didn't feel like I fit in. I will say there was one person that always made a beeline to me the moment I'd walk in, and that was Pastor Larry. Didn't have much small talk with me because he didn't know me. I didn't know him, but he always welcomed me. He would always give me this. He's a tall, lanky man. And as far as I can remember ever knowing him, he would come to me with his arm out. I'd shake his hand, he'd pull me in and hug me every single time. You know, but
he still does that.
He still does it.
Yeah.
He still does it, you know. And man, we love Pastor Larry. You know, he's the vice president of Grace International, but he happens to be in our Northern California district. But anyways, I was not feeling it. I was going through a situation in my life and the ministry. I couldn't pay the rent, losing the building. And I was just kind of like up to here. And I felt like none of these men reached out to me. You know what's crazy too is a lot of the men that I thought would reach out to me are no longer part of Grace. Because they had their own thing going on. Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought, so a lot of things I took personal. Because I literally reached out to Lifesong. You know, Lifesong is a church here who, you guys probably heard of Isaiah Saldivar. That's where he attends. But the church he goes to, that pastor, that church was a part of Grace International. I didn't know that he was feeling a certain type of way and on his way out. So I'm trying to reach out to him because I'm in Tracy, he's in Stockton. And I kept hitting a wall. And I took it personal, like, okay, you're the closest one to me, other than Pastor Doug and Tracy. Anyways, I decided that I wasn't going to leave just like that, because as we have to be men of integrity, or women, you know, also, but this isn't just to pertain to men. But I felt that if I had gotten through the hoops and through the application and everything of becoming a Grace International pastor in church, and as much as everything in me wanted to just up and leave and just completely like just erase their numbers and just keep it moving, I felt that there was no integrity in that. You know, there was no integrity in that because as men, we got to hold ourselves to a certain standard.
Absolutely.
And so what I did was this. I remember writing a long email, and I sent it to Steve Riggle, the president in Houston of Grace International. Kind of a funny story. I found out later, it never made it to him. It got intercepted by Stu. You know, Stu's awesome too. But, and I'm glad it never got to Steve, you know, because I'm still here, you know. But, so what Stu did was he called Larry, the tall, lanky man. And I remember sending the email, and I just let it loose. Like, I was just like, I'm angry, I'm upset, and this is why I don't want to be part of you guys' organization. And all of a sudden I get a call from Larry, the tall, lanky man. And he goes, "Hey, David, what's up?" And I was just kind of cold. I was like, "Just here." He goes, "You available to have lunch with me?" I mean, how do you turn down lunch? And you know, like the way he asked, you know, and I was mad and I was upset and I said, "Sure." He goes, "Can you come to Livermore?" He goes, "Meet me at Applebee's." I was like, "Sure, when?" He goes, "How about today?" Like, he was boom on it.
Yeah.
And I went, you know, I went over there and met him, and you know, the pleasantries when you first sit down, but then he's like, "I read your email." He was still sending it to me, and he goes, "I'm not gonna convince you to stay." He goes, "But I do want a chance to hear your heart, and maybe I can share mine. Can we do that over lunch?" Yeah, of course. You know, and I shared my frustrations that he had read on the letter. And then he shared some things about himself and how he saw the situation and how he had been in the exact same spot I was in, feeling exactly the way I felt. And he just shared his heart and shed some light. And I don't know what happened in the midst of that meeting, but before the bill came, I realized I wasn't going anywhere. You know, and I'm so glad for that, because here I am still. And this is the man that to me is our pastor. You know, and the thing is this, is I realize this, is that I'm glad that I wrote the email instead of just leave. I'm glad I answered the phone call. And I'm glad that he allowed me to share with him my problems and my situations and my points of views. And he was able to counter a lot of that stuff. And a lot of that stuff that I was feeling, a lot of it was a misunderstanding or a miscommunication. Or like, for instance, I'm over here, you know, I was complaining to him saying, you know, this pastor in Stockton doesn't even reach out to me. And he's like, you know, he's leaving Grace, right? Because this has nothing to do with you. You're taking it personal. You know, so things like that I think that I realized that he deserved the chance to talk. And he never came off as somebody trying to convince me to stay. Because he was just like, "David, whether you stay or go, however," he goes, "I don't want you to leave. I think you're a good fit for this covering." He goes, "But I don't want you to leave on what you think is truth. If you leave, you're going to leave because you know the truth, and then you make your decision." And I realized that I had some thinking errors and some misunderstandings, even about ministry itself. I was brand new. If I would go back 12 years and talk to Pastor David 12 years ago, I would have said the same thing Larry said to me then.
Yeah.
You know, I would have said, if somebody would come to me, and this is the issue that I was talking to Sharon about, is that the right way to do things is to communicate. You know, and I realize now, let the chips fall where it may. If it hurt somebody, well, then maybe it was meant for you. But it would have been cowardly of me to just leave. It would have been unfair because Grace trusted me. I went through everything to be a part of something, and not realizing if I would have just left, that would have been cowardly and unfair, and it's not the right way. It's not the Christian way. You know, and like I said, if I could go back 12 years, I would have said the same things. I would have sat myself down and said, why are you doing this, and why? Can you at least explain to me? That way, if you do leave, at least you leave with truth. You know, and unfortunately, though, what I've learned in ministry now, that most people won't do that. You know, and that's what we were talking about. You know, and I don't think it should be that way. You know, there's been people that have left House of Rest, that, like in Modesto, and after months they came back and talked to us, or they talked to you, or they talked to me. I had somebody, one of our leaders, maybe a year and a half ago, literally say, Pastor, I want to talk to you. All right. And then I went over there, and he straight up said, he goes, out of respect for you, because I just want you to know that I'm leaving the church here. And I remember talking to him, and I said some things to him, not to make him stay. In my mind, I'm like, he's gone, he's leaving, but I need to share with him how I feel about him. And the conversation ended, and I was like, man, in my heart, I'm like, man, I really like this brother. And he I know you're watching, brother. Remember when you called and told me that you were going to leave? And then he called, or he texted back, or he called back, and he says, I'm not going anywhere. You know, and why? Why? Because he was a man, and he spoke to me and told me he was leaving. And then he shared with me why he was leaving. And then he gave me a chance to at least explain some things. And if he would have left, at least he would have left with truth in the same way.
Absolutely.
You know, and there's been sisters in the church that have left or about to leave. Yeah, families, and then they talk, and I'm not saying everything's fixable. Sometimes people have left, and they got offended, and maybe it wasn't meant to be, and they can't get over it, and it is what it is. But what I have seen over time, and you've seen it, is that when you actually sit down and hear somebody's reasons out, and they hear you back, they don't go anywhere. And matter of fact, it's almost as if the relationship flourishes after that. Yeah,
it does. Even when they do leave, even for good reasons, there's a beautiful lifetime relationship and friendship where you can still be part of their lives, and they become, you're able to still fellowship, you're able to still be part of their success in everything that they do. And, you know, the thing is that people tend to forget that we're all still part of the same kingdom, you know, and we're supposed to be rooting for one another. And for some reason, people somehow forget that. And they bring almost like if it's like a division. And they think that because there's a separation, that there's a division that comes along with it, and that shouldn't be that way, you know. And that's what's sad, you know. That's why there has to be communication when people depart. You know, there can be a departation because of something good. You know, we had a beautiful family that has been with us for many, many years. And, you know, because they were driving such a long ways, and, you know, because, you know, they wanted to be closer to home, and everything, we understood that, and we totally understood it, and we were like, you know what, we understand, we're gonna miss you, but we want what's best for them, you know. And man, do we miss them? Absolutely, we miss their presence. But did we understand? Absolutely. But guess what, we still love them, we still talk to them, we're still a big part of their lives, you know.
Yeah.
And we're still part of the kingdom, and we're still rooting for them, and they're still rooting for us. We still have communication, and that's what's beautiful, is that there should not be a division amongst us, you know.
Yeah.
There should never be.
Well, there's another family that we had basically were leading to put them in charge of the food ministry. That is a huge endeavor.
Yeah.
And this is a couple that had been with us for a long time, a trusted couple. There was trust both ways. And one day, you know, he was talking to me, and he says, I really got to talk to you, like, seriously. I was like, what? We're always joking with each other. He's, no, seriously, I got to talk to you. He goes, I'm about to retire in about 3 months, 4 months. He goes, and we're going to be moving out of state. And I'm like, are you serious? You know, he goes, no, really, seriously. He goes, you know, we're retiring, and we want to be close to our grandchildren. You know, and he goes, and I just want to let you know, because I know you have certain expectation about the food ministry, and I don't want to lead you on. He goes, so I just want to let you know now, to prepare your heart now, and to prepare you now. That way you don't have expectations toward us, and we're just leading you on. And sure enough, 3.5 months later, they sold a house, and they moved, and to this day, we went to Houston and saw them. They came and drove to see us, and we have a great relationship. We can call them anytime if we ever truly needed something, or if they truly. One day they showed up. Actually, they came back to California, showed up unannounced at the church. On a weekday we were there, and man, it was all hugs and handshakes, you know, and it was just the right way to do it. You know, can you imagine though, if he had already had it in his heart and gotten the responsibility, let's say we invested into it, invested church funds into what he was doing, and all of a sudden he leaves to Texas, or, you know, that would have been messed up, because, and then could find out later that he knew he was going to retire and move 4 months ago, you know. And so it's little situations like that, guys, that as believers, we need to do the right thing at all costs.
Yeah, because, you know, your relationship with Christ, you know the intentions. You know what's in your heart. You have been, you know, there's things that you have been dealing with God. Only you know your relationship and your walk with Christ, and what you have been speaking unto the Lord. And if the Lord has spoken to you, and if the Lord is telling you to go in one direction or another direction, I think it's your responsibility to share those things, and to be responsible if there's ever, you know, if the Lord is, you know, having you in some type of leadership, or has you to do one thing or another. I think it is our responsibility as Christians to be responsible enough to be able to walk away from something responsibly, you know, and to do the right thing. And when you walk away from something the wrong way, and leave something the wrong way, I think that it doesn't please the Lord. Yeah. I really believe that.
You know, one thing I can say though, real quick, is that this video actually is not throwing rocks. This is actually a real conversation Sharon and I had earlier, as we're talking about ministry. And we're talking about grace. Yeah. And I said, remember when I told you, because I didn't know her yet. I said, remember I told you when I was going to leave Grace? And so it opened up that conversation. I retold you the story, and then I said, that's a good video to talk about.
Well, it also brought it up too, because there was a point when we were courting, guys, you know, we talked about a lot of things, and it made me also think about the time when we were courting for 3 years, you know, I was at a point when I was ready to throw in the towel, guys. You know, it just doesn't work in a church and in congregation relationship or anything. It works in every relationship, whether it be in spouse, whether it be in courting, whether it be in anything. We were courting, and you know, I got anxious and I got, you know, frustrated, and I was like, is this guy ever gonna, you know, ask me to marry him? And I was ready to throw in the towel. I really truly was. And I became very, very anxious. And I remember that I sat down. I finally, you know, sought the Lord, and I was like, Lord, what do I do? And I remember that the Lord told me, you need to speak to him. And I did. And I remember coming to talk to you, and I said, David, you know, I need to know where your heart stands. And, you know, if you want, you know, the Lord brought me here, and he brought me here for a purpose. And if I need to just be here to help you pioneer this church, then praise the Lord, then I will be here, because I know that he brought me here to help you. And if this is what I needed to do, and if that's the only thing that the Lord brought me here to do, then I will, you know, then I will just step up to the plate to just do that, and I will do it. And I remember saying that, and the moment that I said that, I remember that the Lord just began to show me, you know, that I just needed to stop persisting on a relationship, persisting on anything, persisting on pushing the relationship or anything. And it just seemed like the moment that I stopped asking and questioning anything, and he said, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And it seemed that the moment that the communication and everything, it almost seemed like...
Who said, do you trust me?
It was the Lord.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I felt like the Lord was saying, do you trust me? And I had to put my full trust in him. And I communicated that with you. And I just felt like it just took a big pressure off of us, the relationship. And we really put our focus on him. And after that, I think it was not too long after that we did get married. But I think that, you know, there has to be communication, you know, because you never would have known my heart if I would have never communicated with you. So I think it goes hand in hand in everything. You could have just
up it, because you were living in Stockton with your son.
Yeah.
I was living in my parents in the ranch. You could have literally left and not even know.
Yeah.
And then I would have been
That's how I felt.
I would have been like, where you at? You know?
Where you at, girl?
You know, but yeah, it's just not sure why I wanted to do a video. I just thought it was an interesting thing that how I handled that and how it turned out, and I'm really glad that I had at least the smarts to let them know I was leaving instead of just leaving. You know, and also to sit down with Larry. You know, I thought of an example that I saw happen like this out of ministry when I was in prison. There was a few guys that they had their wives waiting for them. I mean, years. And what was messed up is these guys had no intentions with staying with her. You know, because that was going to be their place to release to. That was going to be their... Nobody wants to get out of prison and not have nowhere to go.
That's messed up.
You know, so there's a few guys, they've had their wives traveling, visiting, putting money in their books. I mean, the whole shebang. And then to find out, you know, 6 months later after they get out that they left a wife. Like... this woman was planning ahead for your return. This woman was planning getting your room ready, buying you clothes, buying you underwear and socks so you can be there, talking about filling the fridge up with your favorite foods and this and that. And the whole time, you know, he had no intention of staying. And I've seen that happen a handful of times, and that was, I mean, remember, I was a Christian in prison, so watching that was heartbreaking. You know, I didn't even know who the spouse was. You know, well, other than the visits, sometimes I would see them in the visit, and he'd be all lovey-dovey to her and this and that, and I'm just like, That's messed up, man. That's really messed up, you know. Now, that's an extreme case of what I'm talking about, but a real man would have told her, you need to just stop. You need to forget about me. I have different plans. I've been locked up for years, and I've rethought my life, or whatever dumb
That's like
excuse he
premeditated stuff.
Yes.
That's horrible.
That is horrible, you know, because a real man would have just been straight up, even if he had to suffer and get out, not know where, have no place to go, this and that, but to keep her on the hook until he was ready. And unfortunately, people in ministry do that, you know, and it's a different scenario, but basically the same thing.
Wow.
You know, and so anyways, guys, just a subject we had talked about, I think, over your soup, your lunch soup. Lunch soup.
I had my soup for lunch.
And we were talking about different things, and this subject came up, and I said, you know what, that's a good devotional to talk about. It's not really, I don't have a scripture, you know, to talk about, but I thought that was an interesting subject, because I think whether you're in ministry or not, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things.
Guys, you guys got to remember, over the course of the last 2.5 months, we have not been able to really go and sit down, and we used to always be able to sit down and have our deep conversations, or really sit down and have a cup of coffee and have conversations. Or we used to sit at our table, we used to study intensively, and we used to be able to really get into worship together and do all of that. But the last 2.5 months, it really has been a season of labor, and it really has been, guys. So I miss this. I miss these moments. This is those moments in a marriage, where you're able to sharpen one another and just spend time with one another. Those moments that really do matter, when you're able to just go sit down and have a cup of coffee and enjoy each other's, you know, time, and just, you know, just be able to communicate with one another. I love that. And those, when I used to say that I miss that, I really meant it. I miss being able to cook for my family. When you guys see him go nuts and put his before and after pictures, when he shows you guys all that, it's because he's excited, guys. You know, he gets excited when I cook, because I have not been able to cook in my kitchen for a long time. We have not been able to have the conversations. These are the things that used to allow us to be able to do devotionals, because of the deep conversations, because of the things that we open up, and it brings out topics, you know, because we sit down and we talk, and you're just like, man, that would make a really good devotion, you know, a devotional. And it's because of these moments, because we would be like, that would be a good devotional, that would be a good devotional, and that's why. But we love our moments, guys. We love these moments, because it's special. It's special to us. So hopefully these moments will continue, and we'll get back on track, and I'm looking forward to them.
Amen.
Yeah.
So this weekend, after Sunday sermon, we're taking off to Oceanside. It's our Grace International Regional Conference, so I'm really excited. If you are anywhere near the Oceanside, California, which is an hour north of San Diego, and an hour south of LA.
Yeah.
It's in the middle between LA and San Diego, Oceanside. That's where the conference is going to be. If you're somebody that watches us and views us, we would love to meet you. We love meeting people and we have gone to different states and met people that watch us. People have came down here that watch us. And so that's an open invitation to just come. You know, it's at, if you want to know where it's at the Grace Church there. I'm not sure the time, but you can go to this website, and if you're really serious, you will write this website down. It's Grace, and then what's the dash, right? Like a phone number
dash? Grace.tv?
No.
Oh.
The dash. What's the dash? Is it called dash?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's grace-international.tv. So there's that slash, like a phone number in the middle. I don't know what that's called, but...
It's not semicolon, is it?
No, semicolon's a dot and then a...
I don't know.
Like a phone number has.
Yes, just put dash.
Grace-international.tv. And go, you'll see the because they're having regionals, 4 different regionals around the United States, but ours is the Oceanside one. Gives you the times of service. You register.
Are we
for
gonna
free.
on the way back? Are we gonna pass by to see towards where Jania's at?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We're gonna eat at Morro Bay.
Ooh, Jania, get a hold of me. I know you're watching, so yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be going up Highway 1 after on the way back. So, anyways, guys, God bless you guys. Thank you so much. And well, you kicked it. Is that old school or what?
Sorry, guys.
She used to always kick it if you watch the old videos, and it looked like an earthquake.
Sorry.
All right, guys. God bless you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Bye. Love you guys.